HarperCollins presents The Way to Dusty Death by Alistair MacLean, read by George Weightman. Chapter 1. Harlow sat by the side of the racetrack on that hot and cloudless afternoon, his long hair blowing about in the fresh breeze and partially obscuring his face. His golden helmet clutched so tightly in his gauntleted hands that he appeared to be trying to crush it. The hands were shaking uncontrollably, and occasional violent tremors racked his entire body. His own car, from which he had been miraculously thrown clear, uninjured, just before it had overturned, lay, of all places, in its own Coronado pits, upside down and with its wheels spinning idly. Wisps of smoke were coming from an engine already engulfed under a mound of foam from the fire extinguishers, and it was clear that there was now little danger of an explosion from the unruptured fuel tanks. Alexis Dunnett, the first to reach Harlow, noticed that he wasn't looking at his own car, but was staring, trance-like, at a spot about 200 yards farther along the track, where an already dead man called Isaac Zetu was being cremated in the white-flamed funeral pyre of what had once been his Grand Prix Formula One racing car. There was curiously little smoke coming from the blazing wreck, presumably because of the intense heat given off by the incandescent magnesium alloy wheels, and when the gusting wind occasionally parted the towering curtains of flame, Zetu could be seen sitting bolt upright in his cockpit, the one apparently undamaged structure left in an otherwise shattered and unrecognizable mass of twisted steel. At least Dunnett knew it was Zetu, but what he was seeing was a blackened and horribly charred remnant of a human being. The many thousands of people in the stands and lining the track were motionless and soundless, staring in transfixed and incredulous awe and horror at the burning car. The last of the engines of the Grand Prix cars, there were 9 of them stopped in sight of the pits, some drivers standing by their sides, died away as the race marshals frantically flagged the abandonment of the race. The public address system had fallen silent now, as did a siren's ululating wail as an ambulance screeching to a halt at a prudent distance from Zetu's car, its flashing light fading into nothingness against the white blaze in the background. Rescue workers in aluminium asbestos suits, some operating giant wheeled fire extinguishers, some armed with crowbars and axes, were trying desperately, for some reason wholly beyond the bounds of logic, to get sufficiently close to the car to drag the cindered corpse free. But the undiminished intensity of the flames made a mockery of their desperation. Their efforts were as futile as the presence of the ambulance was unnecessary. Zetu was beyond any mortal help or hope. Dunnett looked away and down at the overawed figure beside him. The hands that held the golden helmet still trembled unceasingly, and the eyes still fixed immovably on the sheeted flames that now quite enveloped Isaac Zetu's car were the eyes of an eagle gone blind. Dunnett reached for his shoulder and shook it gently, but he paid no heed. Dunnett asked him if he were hurt, for his face and trembling hands were masked in blood. He had cartwheeled at least half a dozen times after being thrown from his car in the final moments before it had upended and come to rest in its own pits. Harlow stirred and looked at Dunnett, blinking, like a man slowly arousing himself from a nightmare, then shook his head. 2 ambulance men with a stretcher came towards them at a dead run, but Harlow, unaided except for Dunnett's supporting hand under his upper arm, pushed himself shakily to his feet and waved them off. He didn't, however, seem to object to what little help Dunnett's hand lent him, and they walked slowly back to the Coronado pits, the still dazed and virtually uncomprehending Harlow, Dunnett, tall, thin, with dark hair parted in the middle, a dark pencil-line moustache and rimless glasses, everyone's idealized conception of a city accountant, even though his passport declared him to be a journalist.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?